Hi everyone, my name is Lucy and I am on this platform to kind of bring awareness to cCMV, which is cytomegalovirus. I just want to get out there. I'm not a doctor. I'm in no case, a specialist at this. I'm just a mother who is undergoing these things with my child. And when I first found out about my daughter's diagnosis, I really wish that I had someone to guide me, someone to listen, and just some experiences from people. So I figured this might be a good way for fellow moms or dads to see and kind of understand what's going on. Because when these things first happen, your first thing that you want to ask is like, how, why? And sometimes you're just a little emotional, which is totally understandable, and you don't really know how to go about things. So I'll kind of get started from there. Like I said, my name is Lucy. I'm from Lexington, Kentucky, and born and raised here. I have two beautiful girls. My oldest, her name's Olivia. She's gonna be 4 next month. She was born very healthy, no health problems that we are currently aware of, and she had no issues. And then we had my daughter, Claire, and she will be 2 in December. She is the one who was diagnosed with CMV. During my pregnancy is when I contracted the virus. From what we have been told is that's really when it impacts the baby the most. So CMV, congenital cytomegalovirus, so something that they acquire during gestation, is something that can affect children completely differently. So my story may not be the same as others, and other stories definitely aren't the same as mine. But again, I'm just doing this to get word out of how severe it can be, and also how heartfelt or really heart-wrenching that it can be. So with that being said, I had Claire at 36 weeks and 4 days. So she's technically premature. I had no issues during my pregnancy. It was a very normal pregnancy. I never felt like anything was wrong. My doctors never found anything on anatomy scans or any kind of scan for that matter. They just said that everything looked fine. She looks great. She's gonna be a healthy baby. So, that's what we were prepared for. So when she was born, I went into labor prematurely, and that's when things kind of started to get super real. So I went into labor. I was in the hospital all day because my contractions weren't severe enough for them to proceed with anything, because I was a repeat C-section. So they obviously want to keep the baby in for as long as possible, which I'm totally fine with. So when I was there, contractions started getting worse, and then the doctor decided to go ahead and do the C-section that day. So when Claire was born via C-section, she swallowed a bunch of amniotic fluid, which isn't really abnormal. It happens a lot, but that's really the only concern we had at the time. She immediately got transferred to the NICU, and they said that she wasn't breathing correctly. They had to put surfactant in the lungs and intubate her for that to help with the fluid and all that stuff. So at the time, that was my biggest worry, was that my baby couldn't breathe. So they got all that taken care of. We were weaning her off of oxygen. I was going up to see her in the NICU. I was still in my own room on the mother-baby floor. So that in itself is really hard, to not be with your child, knowing that they're somewhere that you aren't and can't really be all the time. So that was really gut-wrenching for me, and very sad, and was not in a very good place mentally for those things and emotionally. I'm very fortunate because my husband was able to be with Claire for the majority of her stay. So You know, I wasn't worried about her. I just, you know, I wanted to be there for her. So when they transferred her down to where we were in the mother baby floor, it was the day we were getting discharged. Okay, so I was being discharged. They were talking, acted like everything was totally fine. And then she's already failed her hearing test twice, but the person who did the hearing test, you know, informed me that this is normal. It could be fluid behind her eardrum. Like, it's not a huge deal. Just come back in 2 weeks and, you know, we'll get it fixed and we'll make sure that we get another hearing test. It's nothing to be concerned with. And I was like, all right, cool. So I'm in the shower, taking a shower and getting ready to leave, and I'm very excited. And I come out, and the nurse practitioner from the mother baby floor was like, you know, you need to sit down, we need to talk. So I was like, okay, what's wrong? And she was handing me a piece of paper that said cytomegalovirus. And I have never in my life heard about this before. Advertisement, education, everything about this virus is super low, which I think does our community as a whole terribly, because it is super common. 1 in 200 babies are born with that. And some people don't know till they get older. Some people don't know till later on in the baby's life, like a few months in, that they have it. But, you know, it's really sad that we don't know anything about this virus that impacts your child's life so much. So, you know, I'm reading over this paper. I can't really process what's going on. Even the nurse practitioner didn't really know much about it. This disease it's not really a disease. I think it's a disease. I call it a disease because it acts like one. It's technically a virus, but this virus has everyone in a stupor. No one knows about it. The cCMV Foundation, from what I understand, only gets $10,000 a year in research, which is nothing. And, you know, with everything it impacts, you think they'd have more awareness, but they don't. So, and they need it. They need it so bad. So cCMV can affect the baby's hearing, which would explain why, you know, she failed her hearing test twice. My husband and I have no, you know, genetic abnormalities in our family. Nothing that would even cause us to think that, oh, well, maybe something's wrong with her ears. Maybe that's why she can't hear. But when the nurse practitioner told me that the number one side effect of cCMV is hearing loss, it just kind of struck me really hard, because, you know, as a mother, you want to give everything to your child and make sure they have a normal life just like anyone else. And I realized at that moment that might not be the case for her. And that really hit hard. And, you know, then they're going over all these other statistics, and right after they told me that her hearing would be impaired, I just kind of not blacked out, but I kind of spaced out, and I just started crying. I was holding my baby on the bed, and I was just crying really hard, because as a mom, all you can think about is it's my fault, because they did throw in there that you know, it's conceived during your pregnancy. Depending on how far along you were when you conceived it affects differently on how the baby is. So, you know, all I can think about is, wow, how I have messed up my child's life, and this is all my fault, and things of that nature. And that guilt still is with me, and I don't know when that goes away. But when we were discharged, we were told to go to our local children's hospital to get additional scans, because cCMV also affects the brain. It can affect the liver and spleen. It can affect, you know, physical things, everything. I mean, it has a broad spectrum. So like I said, I'm only going to talk about what is wrong with my child, because every case is so different. So the next day, we went to our local children's hospital to get an ultrasound of her head to see if she had any enlarged ventricles, any fluid around the brain, cysts, things like that. And we were informed that she had an enlarged left ventricle. She also had multiple cysts throughout her brain and bilateral calcifications. We didn't know what to do with that information, because you know, the first thing we think of is she's going to have, you know, developmental issues, and that's kind of what we were told. So that hit hard like a rock. We followed up with an infectious disease doctor right after that scan. They told us the same thing, like, you know, anything's possible. She could have cerebral palsy. She could have a super bad delay cognitively. She may not walk. She may not do anything on her own. And like I said, that hits really hard, especially when you have no idea what you're dealing with. And to be honest, the people that are telling you these things don't have a lot of experience with it either. It's all, you know, first come basis kind of a deal. So that's really hard as well, because they're all just going on not so much research or evidence, but on things they've seen. It's all like hearsay, and because it's still something that people don't know much about, so they're still learning new things every single day. So, and the one thing that the infectious disease doctor told me was, you know, CMV is a waiting game. Every day is a new day that something else could happen, or, you know, you just don't know. They couldn't tell me if they thought she would be developmentally delayed. They couldn't tell me any specifics because they don't know. It's something literally where they said it's a waiting game. You just have to wait and see. You just have to wait and see. And as a parent, that's really hard to digest, to be told, just wait and see, just wait and see. Because you don't want to wait and see what could be wrong with your baby. You want to know, and you want to know all the avenues you can to help them. So that was very difficult. The first few months of the diagnosis is very, very hard, emotionally, physically, and mentally. It's just really hard on all ways, and I think people downplay it a lot, and I don't think we're getting enough awareness about it. And you know, if we can come together as a community to raise awareness for CMV, that would just mean so much to healthcare, to these families that are struggling with it, and then to expected mothers who have no clue about it. They don't know how to prevent it, because you don't get told any of these things. Neither one of my appointments you did, at least. So after we were told those things, we had to go to a ear, nose, and throat doctor, since she failed her hearing test, and we were told at like a week old that she was mild to moderate in her right ear, and she was moderate to severe in her left ear. So she was more than half deaf in her left ear when she was born. She had some hearing in her right. So we were informed that she had to take this medicine called valganciclovir to prevent the hearing loss. It wouldn't restore any hearing loss, but it would prevent it. And the thing is with CMV is things change day to day. So, you know, one day she could have hearing, the next day she couldn't. So you have to go to the ENT doctor every 3 months to get, you know, audiology appointments for ABRs, for little sleep studies. And then you got to see the ENT. I mean, your life is full of appointments, and no one really warns you of that. You're consumed in all these things. So that's something that you need a really good emotional support person with you, whether it's your husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, you know, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, anybody, because you're going to need it. I mean, it's very emotionally straining. So we go every 3 months to get those checked out. And we have an amazing ENT doctor. He's fantastic. We really love him. We love our audiologist. We love where we are, which makes a huge difference. We feel like they're really fighting for her. And that's something that is important. So I won't go on too much about it in this first video. But, you know, if you all are interested in hearing more about this, hearing more, you know, information on CMV, or just, you know, keeping up with Claire's journey, I will be glad, more than glad, to post more videos, answer questions and comments. If you want to, you know, press the thumbs up button to like this video, and subscribe to my channel so you all can keep updated on things. And I'll also put my handles for social media, because Claire does have a social media for people to follow her up on. That would be great, and just so you all can really be informed about everything going on, because, you know, the healthcare system is just not doing us justice in keeping us informed on certain viruses and things, and how they can greatly impact our loved ones. So I look forward to talking to you all soon. Bye.